In this video, I'm going to cut straight to the hard yet important truths that you will need to know in order to truly achieve success as a creator or solo business owner. The ups and downs that you encounter in this journey are very real and only the strong survive. So jumping straight in, this first truth is for those that are struggling with a little bit of self-belief at the moment. You are a professional, period. There's this thing where when you're getting started into something new, and we'll probably talk about it here later in the video, but the whole concept of faking it till you make it, and everybody feels clumsy. You feel like it's amateur hour a little bit when you're starting anything new. Like I said, I've been in multiple industries at this point, and as a 33-year-old, I feel like I've started over so many times in different fields that I'm always the rookie. And sometimes that's really hard to shake, like the mental belief that you are actually more valuable than sometimes you believe that you are, especially in the professional space when you're trying to promote yourself online. But there's a difference here right off the gate. There is a huge difference between being an expert in something and being a professional. And what I mean by expert versus professional is if you take yourself seriously in what you're doing and you are committed to being the best you can possibly be at whatever it is that you're doing, you are a pro. You are a professional. You have sacrificed everything else that you could be doing, that you could be prioritizing. You don't sacrifice everything so that you can be an amateur. You might not be an expert, but you are a professional. So remember that and carry yourself accordingly. Something that I see happen a lot for all of us with the conversations I've had with people like you online, and even looking at my own story and what goes on in my own head sometimes, is the knowledge that you have stored up here, the experiences that you have gone through, the wisdom that you have gained through doing things. That is valuable. And there is somebody who's willing to pay you a lot of money to uncover the knowledge that you have sitting right within you. Truth number 2, you are smarter than you think you are. Here's the thing. We all take our knowledge for granted. I know for me, I constantly feel like I have to prove myself and like display information and push out information that nobody's ever heard before. I have to like somehow just have these mind-blowing moments for people when they are absorbing content or I'm having a conversation with somebody. Like I need to prove how smart I actually am by saying something they've never heard before. And when you come into this whole mindset as a solo business owner trying to market yourself or your business, whatever it is, or as a creator, just kind of promoting the stuff that you're building and creating, right? The wisdom that you have, or even more so just the skill set and the knowledge that you have, it doesn't seem revolutionary to you because it's already in your brain. You already have it. And that's the thing that I encourage you to kind of remind yourself of. Just because you know it and it seems simple to you doesn't mean that it's not incredibly valuable or mind-blowing moment for other people. And so even though it seems simple, it might be the breakthrough that somebody else needs. This is really important because a lot of times I've had conversations with people, and even inside of my own mind and body and soul, sometimes I feel like, oh, I don't need to make a piece of content on topic X, Y, or Z because it's a no-brainer. It's obvious. Everybody knows that. You have to get rid of that mentality of, oh, everybody knows this. Now, granted, you could also go the other way really quick and be like, I'm going to teach people how to tie their shoes. Well, if you're making content or you're building a business that the target audience is little kids learning how to tie their shoes, it's safe to say and assume that the people already know how to tie their shoes, so you don't need to teach them that, all right? So that's a stupid example, but nonetheless, it's often that you know things that other people don't. And you may feel this resistance or feel silly about making content around it or having conversations around these things that seem obvious to you because it seems obvious to you. You've already learned the thing. But there are so many other people that are even one day behind or earlier in their journey than you. And so you can serve these people in a really, really powerful way just by sharing what seems like no-brainer knowledge to you. That's the beauty of building up your experiences, building up skills that stack over time, and sharing that with the world. Again, you are smarter than you actually think you are in a lot of cases. So that should be an encouragement and open up the door for a lot of other things that you can start to speak on and share with the world, which provides immense value. If somebody didn't know something and then you were the one that enlightened them, that educated them on the thing, you are the superhero. You helped them out. You saved the day, and that is valuable. Truth number 3, for the creators out here, validate your ideas before you create things. Now, granted, this could even play really well into product development, or if you're in the process of just building something in general. Validate that there's actually a want or a desire for this thing. Validate that there is a market that you could take this thing to. And so I'm kind of thinking about this for today's video in the context of content creation. So for almost a year, well, it was a little over a year actually, I ran a weekly newsletter, email newsletter, and I did a weekly video that went along with it. If you go into the archives of this YouTube channel, you'll see a bunch of topics that I was hitting on in the solopreneur marketing space. And I called this newsletter M&M Mondays. So it's supposed to stand for Marketing and Mindset Mondays. And this was just really my attempt at holding my feet to the flames and kind of holding myself accountable to showing up every week with new content. And so what's interesting is there's a lot of merit and value in that. Producing content regularly on a regular schedule and getting your audience to start predictably knowing when the next stuff's coming out, because they can start to enjoy that and you build relationship and rapport, right? More content, the better, relatively. But if your goal is to grow, like build your audience or build income through the content that you're creating, what you really need to make sure is happening, even more so than consistent uploads, if we're talking like YouTube videos, for instance, what's even more important is making sure you're putting out content that people actually want, that people are searching for, that people will find immensely valuable, and then trust starts to be built there. All right. So they start to kind of like paint these lines together that you are the expert in that field, and they want to just kind of like soak up whatever information you're putting out there. The thing is, when I did these M&M newsletters and all these videos, it's like no traction, like nobody listened to it. And the big thing here is I was not validating or looking for and doing any sort of research towards what people wanted to hear just in general in the space of which I was talking about. Not to discredit consistency and putting yourself out there on a consistent basis with the content that you produce, but if your goal specifically is to work inside of the algorithm, have the algorithm help boost you up and get your stuff in front of more people and build up your viewership, build up your subscriber base, whatever it may be, validate your ideas. Just do a little bit of research. And this is not the video where I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that, but just remember, validate your ideas before creating. And if you're not, then it's just going to be a lot of trial and error, a lot of guessing game to finding what works for the audience that you're putting your stuff out to. And that's just the game that you're going to have to like settle for. That's just how that goes. Truth number 4. More output is not always better. This is a perfect dovetail coming from truth number 3. Something we have to recognize is that there is an overload of content online. And we are now very much, we have not just entered into, we are in the information overload era. And so if you are thinking that if I put out more and more information, that it's going to help me build my brand, whether that be like personal brand, your YouTube channel, or build the business, information can be found everywhere. So we have to just recognize that, okay? More output is not always better. But what it does, hitting post consistently over and over and over and working out the kinks of your communication style, your platforms that you like to post on, and everything in between, you have to do a lot of it to kind of find that. You have to put in the reps, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. You're not just going to hit record on a camera and all of a sudden like the settings in the camera look good and you have your lighting in the right spot and your audio is clean and crisp and you're delivering everything perfectly. That only happens after you have put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the process. So more output is critical to your success, but it's not always better in the sense of what your audience needs or what the world really would appreciate from you. So it's just something that we have to think about, okay? And I'm not giving you hard answers as to do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. That's not what this truth is about. And ironically, truth number 5 is that you need to create a ton of stuff. Like I said, so I'm putting these together because it's not always better, but you still need to do it because it improves you and you learn. Create more than you consume. That could be its own truth just right there. Practice the art of creation more than absorbing information, more than researching and studying. Now, they have their place. And so I'm not saying that this versus that is the way to go or vice versa. They're both true at the same time. So keep that in mind. That's truth number 4 and number 5 kind of tied together for you. Truth number 6, be willing to put yourself out there. This may seem like a no-brainer. Again, back to one of my other points, but I want to share this with you because I think this is going to be an important reminder for a lot of us. And it's good for me to just say out loud for myself as well. We need to put ourselves out there. And so for some of you, you need to post more content. Like I can't tell you how many people that I've met on X or formerly Twitter that are writers, and they're great writers and all of that. They're scared to hit record on a camera. They're scared to take their iPhone and go selfie mode with it and upload something that's like short and sweet and to the point. They feel stupid. They feel awkward. And that's fine. Like you don't have to do video. I'm a huge advocate for it. But the thing is, there are people like these writers on X, for instance, that want to grow and they want to expand their horizons, but they won't try something new. They won't venture outside of their comfort zone, which is a big point here. Putting yourself out there makes you uncomfortable. All right. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so for others, this hits more home for me because at this point in my life and in the journey of 12 years through content creation and one-person business ownership, I've done a lot of content. So I'm not scared to hit record, and that's not me bragging. It's just I'm fine with it and I really enjoy it. This is fun for me right now as we're doing this. But where I struggle, the challenge in putting yourself out there is more in connections. You need to be willing to go to somebody's profile, hit the private message or the DM button and reach out and say, hey, I like what you're doing. This is why I found it really interesting. This is what I'm up to. Do you want to spend some time on a call together? However, I don't really care. Like the objective can be whatever. Now, granted, when you're talking about actually building relationships with people, you don't want to come right out of the gate and in the first DM, and I see it done wrong all the time. My DMs are flooded with this crap where you're immediately trying to pitch some sort of service or working together or, hey, do you have some time to chat? Like sometimes that's really annoying. A lot of times it is because like, no, I don't have time to chat with you because I don't know how much of value is going to come out of that. And honestly, I've made the mistake enough times where I've wasted hours upon hours upon hours just chit-chatting with somebody that there's no real value of that relationship. So you have to kind of like take it with a grain of salt. But back to the truth itself of putting yourself out there, you need to be able to like talk to people. If you are trying to build a brand. Now, if you're just doing the creator thing and that's it, and you just want to do solo stuff and that's all, like you can still be successful without knowing anybody, but it's not as fulfilling. It's not as rewarding. It gets lonely and it's just kind of sad and depressing, and it's very easy to burn out, and there's no accountability. There's no camaraderie. There's no community. And so you want to be reaching out to people that either look like they would be a perfect customer for you and start building that relationship slow and steady, or other colleagues, just other professionals within the similar industry or niche that you're a part of. That is so, so important. And I made that mistake and it screwed me over. And it honestly, I could have fast-tracked probably 6 years worth of growing pains if I would have just hit DM and introduced myself, whether it's through email, whether it's a quick video that you shoot over in the DMs, whether it's just replying on a bunch of their posts. However it is, put yourself out there with content. Put yourself out there by introducing yourself to more people. And there's a really cool quote that I wanted to share. Open every door that you possibly can. Some doors will naturally start to close, while others will remain open. Keep walking through the ones that stay open. Simple as that. If you are not putting yourself in a position of seeking out doors and opportunities to walk through, then you are going to fail, period. Truth number 7, both sides of every coin are equally valuable. Think about this from just the actual point of a coin. I don't have a coin here, but this should do. I have a guitar pick. Now, if one side of this pick was more useful than the other, then I would probably hold it a very specific way every single time. But the fact of the matter is, this simple little guitar pick is just a shaped piece of plastic. I need both sides of that pick to be there in order for it to work. Therefore, it's equally valuable. If you have an actual coin in your hand, heads or tails, doesn't really matter, because with the heads, you also have the tails, and they both kind of need each other. So what am I actually trying to say here? Well, let's look at some of these other things that we see debated online a lot of times. The idea of quality versus quantity. Should I focus on a lot of output, or should I focus on putting out really good stuff? And I've already in this video kind of touched on both of those things a little bit and kind of shedded the light that they're both important, right? What about shorts versus longs, like short form video versus long form video? They each serve a purpose, and some businesses focus on one versus the others. Right now, as it stands in this moment, I'm very much focused on the long form video, and I'm seeing more traction with that. It's building a lot more relationship through the camera lens from myself to you on the other side of the screen right now, just because you get a better vibe of who I am and there's context. So as long as I'm talking on something you're halfway interested in, then we have a chance for you to kind of get to know me, my communication style, my vibe, my background. I mean, there are other people on YouTube that you follow religiously because you feel like you know them and you trust them. And long form really helps with that. And it's a great way that you can use kind of at the top of your sales funnel into your business as well, bringing new leads and prospects in. But for a long time, I was very much just focused on the short form video. And that's really all I did. I was like, I can crank these out more and they spike in the algorithm because that's what's trending or what's popular on Instagram Reels, TikTok, obviously their algo is great, YouTube Shorts, all of that. But I'm just seeing more traction with the long form, and I think it's more valuable long-term to my business as well. It's way more evergreen by infinity, basically. Or taking quick action. Here's another both sides of the coin examples. I've got a bunch, I won't use them all, but taking quick action versus calculated approach. Yes, we need to be bold and nimble and make quick decisions. I've heard it said a lot of times, maybe you have as well, the most successful leaders in their organizations are those that make quick, calculated, precise decisions. They don't belabor a point. They don't sit back and forth and kind of toss on what I should do. Should I go left or right? There's just a lot of different stuff that you need to make quick action on. But then at the same time, you don't want to be willy-nilly. I like saying that, willy-nilly. You don't want to be all willy-nilly with what you're doing and just have no rhyme or reason to the things that you're doing. You can't just be this spastic, sporadic person. There needs to be intention and some strategy behind what you're doing. When I say strategy, in this context, I just mean have a bit of a calculation to your approach. So again, both sides of the coin, taking quick action, but also taking enough time to make a smart decision. They're both valuable, they're both important. And it's just the game of balance, which is something I talk on a lot. And then just for a couple other quick examples, which I won't belabor, but sharing your vulnerability, peeling back the layers so people really get to know you on a personal level versus not coming across seeming weak or vulnerable in that sense. They're both kind of important. You have to present yourself as in a position of strength and confidence for people to take you seriously. But if you come out all postured up and just this is all you are, and you don't show any human element to yourself, it's much harder for them to even be interested in listening to you because you seem robotically perfect, or you just look like a freaking phony or a liar. So you've got that. Pretty much with everything, to make the right decision requires so much context that in this type of video, we can't even look into that. That's where having a coach or a mentor or something along those lines is going to really provide a lot of value for you in making the right decision of which side of the coin you should be more focused on at what time in your journey. Truth number 8, fake it till you make it, but don't be a liar. This probably goes without saying, but again, this concept of balance, which I'm a huge proponent of highlighting, because this is the game of life, man. Like, this is what it is. It's a balancing act. It's the spinning the plates. And as one is starting to get wobbly, you have to run back to it and kind of spin it back up. And then when things crash to the ground, you can't let that shake up you, like keeping the other plates going. The idea here is that when you're starting out, yeah, you have to position yourself again as a professional. You are a professional, but that doesn't mean that you're an expert. And don't you dare claim to be an expert if you're truly not. That's something that we see happen a lot. And then people just think you're a liar. Okay. So kind of looking at my story. So I've like been in a lot of different industries and niches now at this point. When I came into marketing, I was actually in a job at the time working for my local church on the creative team, leading the whole music department and doing that whole thing. And I enjoy it. I still play on the weekends over there. I play bass guitar for them. Suncoast Community Church, if you're curious. And we have a cool YouTube channel with just like side songs and stuff. It's called 81A. That's 81 letter A. That's our YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. I'm in some of those videos, and it's just kind of a big group of friends. But anyway, I was over there for my W-2 full-time job, and I wanted to really just start building a business for myself again. And I didn't know in what. And so I started just kind of really discovering how interesting marketing as a concept really is. And again, I won't go down that rabbit trail now, but I was like, okay, I need to like start figuring out how to sell some services, but like, what do I know how to do? And I had a friend who had a little guitar pedal company at the time. He needed somebody to just send out these email newsletters because he needed to clear off some inventory, just had stuff sitting on the shelves that needed to be sold. So he was like, hey, well, since you're interested in marketing, can you use MailChimp and like send out to my email list like these like promotions and stuff? And, you know, I'll pay you $50 for every email you send. So I did that like once a week. So, you know, a couple $100 each month. I was like, hey, this is awesome. And so at that point, I was now an email marketer. Now, lots to learn, but I was going to position myself as an email marketer. And obviously, if you're going to do the fake it till you make it thing, when you get opportunities, because you kind of presented yourself to be this professional and you're still working towards building the skills in that area, if you do land a job, number one, don't take something you know you can't do that thing for them at all whatsoever. Don't take the job. Don't be a liar. But I knew that if I got more gigs, and so I basically set up a profile on Upwork and put myself up as, I think, $40 an hour or something like that as an email marketer. And so I remember very, very vividly my first phone call with like a potential like client, and he just needed help with like automating something in his system. And I told him, I said, I can do that for you. I can do that for you. And I asked a lot of questions, so I knew exactly what he needed. And in my head, I knew I don't know how to do it right now, but between the power of YouTube, Google, my own motivation, and just like making a promise to someone and getting paid to do this, I will learn how to do it, and I will learn really, really fast, okay? And so I got the job. We did the virtual handshake over the phone, and sure enough, I learned exactly how to do that in like under 30 minutes, and then I just had to apply it to his scenario. Therefore, I stacked that skill on top of the MailChimp newsletter stuff from my guitar pedal buddy. And so that's how you go. Like I got paid to learn. And that's what I did, because I was in college going to school for marketing at a little community college online classes. And I was like, I finally just dropped out, which was my second time dropping out of school, for the record. Still don't have a degree, but that's okay. I'm happy with where we're at. But I was like, no, I'm going to start down the email marketing path and providing this service. And every client that I take on, if I know that I can learn the skill and provide it in a timely fashion and everybody's happy at the end of the day, then we're happy at the end of the day. So I faked it until I made it. And when do you actually make it? I don't know. That's not really the point here, but you don't want to be a straight up liar. Don't be a phony. Don't make empty promises. Don't do that, because a little bonus tip, as you may know, you should know, your reputation is everything. You can destroy everything that you've built. Even if you have nothing so far, you can destroy the opportunity for building something. If you start putting yourself out there as somebody who can't be trusted, somebody who's a fake, somebody who's a con artist, that's not the person you want to be. And all of us, you and I included, and anybody else that's seen this video or is just on YouTube right now as a whole, everybody on this planet, your BS radar is very highly refined because we are fed BS all the time in this information age, in this world of hyperconnectivity through the internet, which is a beautiful thing. It connects the world, man. It's like, it really is so powerful. But at the same time, there are so many more bad apples and lousy players in the game that are blasting themselves out to the world, and everybody's used to, like, you can spot the BS from a mile away. So again, fake it till you make it. Like, you have to kind of step up and, like, you know, put on your fancy watch, do an extra little spray of cologne before you walk into the room with some, like, step into that person that you want to become, that role that you want to end up having over time, but do it with integrity. That's really the point here. Truth number 9, everybody's making it up as they go, so don't be intimidated by status or reputation. Or let's think about it this way. When you're in kindergarten, you're like, whoa, first grader, wow, they have a number in the status of like where they are in the education system. Like, wow, when I'm in first grade, I get to do this now or whatever, you know? And then you get to first grade and you're like, dang, like fourth graders are cool. You get to fourth grade and you're like, whoa, you start seeing these middle school kids and just like, oh my goodness, like they have independence now. Like they get to have their own phone. You know, it's constantly this thing. And then high school into college, and then college into adulthood. And you're like, well, if I could just be an adult and just like not have to go to school, and then that way I could do work and I get paid for work, that whole thing, like then everything's awesome. Like I had a conversation the other day with my 6-year-old that's just over in the other room right now. And he's like, man, I can't wait to be an adult because you could just stay up late, and like if you get hungry at night, you can just go in the pantry and grab a snack, you know, the whole thing. And I'm like, I know, yeah. And with those freedoms come responsibilities. And I don't expect my 6-year-old to understand that concept because he just hasn't lived it out yet. But it's my role it's my honor as his dad to start to kind of share these tidbits of perspective that he will otherwise not know about until he gets to that point in his life. And so the fact is, wherever you are in your career, in your creator journey, whatever, everybody's making it up. And if people were really honest with you, you go and like build a relationship with somebody that's high level successful, and they're going to tell you, like, obviously they've built up tons of experience, lots of knowledge. They are very, very, very wise. But there are a lot of times where it's like, so why did you do this thing? And they're like, I don't know. It's just like, it's just what I thought maybe we should try. I'm just kind of I figured we'd try it. And if it worked, great. And if not, like, we'll pivot, you know? And so like the big players, they don't get caught up on small decisions. They make quick decisions, kind of what we were talking about earlier. But we're all making it up in some regard. So that's okay. And like even those that look really confident on the surface, that like seem to have it all put together, they probably have their own insecurities. They probably have self-limiting beliefs in some area of their life from one degree to another. So just keep that in mind. Like when you feel really small, when you feel like inferior to everybody else around you, try to shed that as quick as possible. And just with the reminder that everybody's human. And with that, we all have our fears, anxieties, our limitations, our hangups that like are crippling. So keep that in mind. Truth number 10, real winners cheer other people along. Those who focus on this whole competition thing, the winners versus losers, whatever you want to say, they're behaving based off of something that I would just call a scarcity belief. And this is something that I've had to think about. I'll use an example just again to kind of share vulnerability on my end. It's like I've always kind of struggled with it on the financial end. And that can be really, really hard when you are approaching the world with this idea that there's only so much money, and so whatever you do have, like hold on to it, don't let go of it. Like that's one of the business fundamentals. Is like if you're building a brand, like you got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in your business. That requires capital. And then obviously investment goes past monetary. But I've had to really, in recent years, I've really had to get rid of this scarcity mindset and look at it as a mindset of abundance. You know, I put up a video that actually did really, really well several weeks back, talking about why now is the best time to start a YouTube channel. The thing is, I stated some facts because I did some research beforehand, believe it or not, and started really uncovering the facts of like the actual stats of how many people are on YouTube, how many channels there are, how consistent those people are, what people are looking for, what's the growth trajectory of people on the platform, and looking at like how many hours do you really need watch time wise to get monetized compared to the amount of hours that are consumed every single day on the platform. Like this, I don't even have the stats memorized. That's why the video is up on the channel. So make sure you watch that after this. I got a lot of comments where people are like, holy crap, this really has inspired and reignited like my excitement for the YouTube thing. I was doing it and then I got burnt out because it just seemed like, you know, the best rise to the top and they take all the market share. They take all the viewership. You know, there are the Mr. Beasts and the Mark Robers and so many different people on the platform, but it's this small group of people that have basically YouTube dominated and nobody else. There's no room for anybody else. And that's a scarcity mindset. You're saying that everything is so limited and there's not enough. How could I ever get a little piece of that pie? The fact is, like, when you approach this, and this isn't really like a scientific, tangible type of thing, but when you approach life in general with an abundance mindset, things tend to just be a little more brighter. You kind of carry yourself quite literally just more optimistic. And through that optimism, your brain fires better. Your body functions in a much more healthy way. The mind, body, soul connection of all of that. It's so true. And when you look at the world as why compete when you can collaborate? Why put somebody down when you can lift them up and that builds you up as well? You hear people talking about, especially those that are wealthy, they're like, yes, the success in my businesses and in my investments, it's been great for me. But the thing that brings me the most satisfaction in all of my days that I've existed thus far is giving back to people, to sharing my wisdom and coaching and mentoring people, or donating millions and millions to these charities and these foundations that are making a difference for people that need help from somewhere, but aren't even able to ask because of the position that they're in. Winners cheer other people along. I watched a Mr. Beast video the other day where he built 100 houses, and it was like, it brought tears to my eyes. I was like, just looking at these people that have nothing, and Mr. Beast doesn't need to be going out and doing that. This is not some PR thing for him. He's not trying to gain more following or more clout by being the nice guy. He's doing that because he has an abundance of finances and resources to him outside of money to where he can do this and make a significant difference. It changes the outlook for even the people that are looking on from the outside. So anybody that's watched that YouTube video, like, you feel that and you're like, okay, now I really do like Mr. Beast, like at a human level, but what a difference he's making, and how can I make a difference too? Focusing on that, the mindset of abundance as opposed to scarcity, that's the point here. True winners cheer others along, regardless. Collaboration over competition. It's the most important thing that you can do. Truth number 11, get used to being uncomfortable. Remaining in discomfort is not natural. That's not what our bodies want to do. Like, from a primal level, we are built instinctively to survive. We want to survive. In order to do that means staying in comfortable environments. Like, if you're a caveman, you find a cave and you learn how to build fire and you position yourself accordingly so that, like, saber-toothed tigers or whatever. I was gonna say mountain lions. I guess they're cousins somewhere on the genealogy map. I don't know what I'm talking about. You have to position yourself in a way to where there's not predators that can eat you that are gonna come into your cave and swallow you up. So you're doing that while also knowing, like, okay, don't go hang around the feet of the woolly mammoths. I'm deep on this caveman thought pattern, clearly. But what's interesting is if you are choosing to grow, like if you are wanting to build something that means something to you and find joy and satisfaction and purpose and fulfillment, all of these big, plithy words from that pursuit, growth comes through discomfort. The most obvious example that I hear all the time is if you want to build muscle, you have to break the muscle, and you have to do it in a calculated, strategic manner so that you don't actually break yourself. But muscle builds through hard work, through discomfort, and then dedication and sacrifice on the things that you choose to eat or not eat. The dedication and prioritization of getting quality sleep. This is how you build muscle. This is how you increase your fitness capacity, your overall health. The same is true in business. I had this mantra that I used to say at the beginning of each week and at the end of each week: do something that puts you outside of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be anything major. Like on one of the previous truths of putting yourself out there, I felt uncomfortable reaching out to people in the DMs and trying to network. And so that was one way that I was like, okay, you need to reach out to 5 new people this week. That's not outlandish, but it made me uncomfortable. And so it doesn't mean that I had to like sacrifice everything on my calendar to make that happen. Really only took an extra 20 minutes of just calculated thought and approach, right? But in that discomfort, you start to realize, hey, that's not so bad. You can start working out. The first couple weeks can really suck, really hurts. You're really sore. But then you start going, oh man, I feel good. I feel like I have more energy, even though I'm spending more energy. And I'm in a calorie deficit potentially too. It's like, how does that work? It is instinctive. It is natural to try to stay comfortable, to play it safe, to take no risks. But what is the purpose of existence if you just show up, sit somewhere, don't do anything, don't try anything new, have no positive impact for yourself or for anybody else for that matter? What a waste of a beautiful opportunity of this thing that none of us asked for, but we are all gifted with. It's called life. It's called existence. It's called breath in your lungs, and a mind that can think and create, and a heart that can feel and connect. Let's relish the opportunity, seize the day, and start putting ourselves out there. I guess I'm kind of going back to the other truth a little bit, but it's okay to be uncomfortable. Discomfort is not a bad thing. Sometimes we need to pay attention to it because it can lead us in a bad path, potentially. Like you don't want to go and pick up a barbell that's got 400 pounds on it. Not that you could anyway, if you couldn't. But like, yeah, you could hurt yourself if you overdo it in the gym, using that example. But for the most part, you can push yourself way further than you thought. I've even heard the stat, and I don't even know if this is scientifically true or not, but it's just always stuck with me, where from like a physical exercise capacity, physical stress, when you get to that point where you're just like, I can't do anymore. Think about like runners, for instance. You hit that wall, you're like, I can't go any further. If you push through, your mind stops about 40% shy of what your body can actually do. That's when your mind will start to shut down on you and all the excuses start to bubble up. So just remember, discomfort, it ain't bad. In fact, it's probably the best thing for you. And the more that you get used to that, then your threshold for what makes you uncomfortable raises higher and higher, which means now you're doing things that have greater and greater impact that really do start to accelerate and compound on top of themselves, so that in your solo business or in your career, it's really going to help you. And you're going to start to really reap the rewards of the effort that you're putting in by making yourself uncomfortable and going no matter what. Truth number 12, stop posturing and be your unique self. I kind of think of Eminem in 8 Mile. If you've seen the movie, there's that point where he's in this rap battle. So these two rappers, they're like facing off, right? And you got Eminem and some other dude, I don't know. And this other dude tries to just basically tear Eminem to shreds in this little rap battle situation of just saying he's the white boy, he's no good, he's trailer trash, he's all of this stuff. And that's what the guy is about to do. I'll make sure I'm telling you the story correctly. Eminem knows that that's all of his like weaknesses, all of his shortcomings that are probably going to get pointed out at some point to be these disses that like sways the battle into the opponent's favor. But Eminem comes out and he's like, yeah, I'm white. Yeah, I have no money. I'm trailer trash. Yeah, I'm whatever. So you can go ahead and try to rag on me all you want, but this just is what it is. What you can't take is how good I am at this game, and you've lost before you've even started, kind of thing. And he just basically shuts it down by calling out everything he knows the opposing guy is going to say to him. What Eminem was doing is he's just being genuine. He's like, yo, like, I know I'm not stupid. I know I'm white. Like, you saying that doesn't make me feel bad. It doesn't make me feel worse. You know, I already know this. This is facts. I have eyeballs, man. You know, and so for us, we have to be sure that we are not posturing in a way where we're just misrepresenting ourselves. And you see probably a theme here in some of these truths where they do dovetail into each other. The real you is way better than you give it credit for a lot of times. Most of the time with people these days, just in general, the comparison trap is very real, and I know it all too well. I fight it on a daily basis as well. So this is not something that is specific to you. You are not lesser than, and the real you is a very, very powerful, very, very impactful and skilled and useful individual, a contributor to society, and you can make a huge difference in many ways. And to the degree of which the difference you'll make is up to you and how you choose to put yourself out there, how you carry yourself, and sharing your process and sharing you with the world. So don't try to be somebody you're not. Again, as I mentioned, people can sniff right through the BS. Don't put on a front. Yes, we have to play the balancing game of, like, if we want to get the job, like if it's the example of like an interview and usually you're a backwards hat kind of person, like you're probably going to have to like not dress like a scrub. Not that backwards hats are a scrub thing. I am almost always in a backwards hat, but I figured I'd show you my freshly shaven head. It's the summer cut, baby. I figured we'd try it out, whatever. I don't know how we went down that train of thought. The real you is way better than you think that it is. Just show it. Just sharpen it. Continue to invest in yourself. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. But build up the real you and present the real you from the get-go. Truth number 13, publish before it is perfect. This is very much regarding content creation. My best stuff is honestly almost always the content that I post that I don't think is going to do super well. It happens time and time again. Going back to the video that I had that went viral, and I'll say viral because compared to all the other videos on my channel, the one from a couple months ago or a month ago about why YouTube is like, now's the best time to start, I'd referred to that earlier. Most of my videos are getting like 100 views, maybe somewhere in there, plus or minus, which I used to get really excited about that because it was better than the 10 or 15 views or no views. But then that video that I'm referring to shot up, and I think it's at like 7,200 right now as I'm recording this, or somewhere around there. So it's huge. It's awesome. It's great. And I honestly, there are things on that video that I almost went back to my editor for another round of revisions to clean up the audio and a couple other things within the video. But, you know, I just kind of told myself, I was like, no, like it's good. The information is good. It's good enough. The right people will appreciate this content. Let's get it out to them, and let's continue to improve in these other areas of how we edit and the style of these videos and my presentation style and trying new things. We will refine that as we go, but don't wait to hit publish until it's absolutely perfect, because what you think is perfect, once you get there, for whatever reason, I don't know the science behind this, but for whatever reason, the ones that you think like that you're like, oh, this one's going to be perfect, a lot of times they're not the ones that do the best. And ironically, right after the video I'm referring to about YouTube timing, I put up a video for why creators are burning out and getting deflated, and it's all around expectations and the expectation gap, the reality versus what you're hoping for. The bigger the gap, the more like frustrating and demoralizing it can be, and that kills creators before they even get started a lot of times. I thought that video was gonna just crush, and it's fine, it's doing okay. And I'd prefer it to do better, but I'm not sad about it. I'm not losing sleep over it. I can see why Maybe in the packaging or the intro, the hook, there are some things that we could have cleaned up and made it a little bit just more clear expectations, ironically, more clear expectations for the viewer as they chose to click into it. And we could have just kind of like confirmed what they were hoping for in the beginning. So I digress. Publish before it's perfect. Make the content. I have been recording this video for over an hour now. And sorry to my editor, but that's okay. That's because there's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of pauses and things like that. And we'll clean those up. We'll rough cut those out and kind of clean it up a bit and throw some nice edits and some transitions and some motion graphics or whatever we end up doing with the video. There's going to be things about it that aren't going to be perfect. And I'm still going to, yes, we may do a round or two of revisions to clean it up and give it its best chance of reaching the most people so that it can have a positive impact for those. So if you're liking this video so far and you're still here, number one, you're a real one and I appreciate you, but make sure you do hit the like button and leave a comment. I try to reply to every single one. There's no reason for me not to be engaging with all of you in the comment section. It's not like I'm some mega YouTube star with gazillions of comments rolling in. I have the time and I would prefer to prioritize my conversations with you guys on this platform more than most other things in the business because it's all about people at the end of the day. And that's why I do this. So publish before it's perfect. That's all I need to say. Truth number 14. Do not be a lone wolf. Just because you're a one-person business or solopreneur and the whole like idea of it just being you, this lone wolf, this lone ranger, this solo dolo dude, don't be that. And I don't mean that you shouldn't have a one-person business. I'm a huge advocate of it, and that's how I run my business. I'm not looking to be some big, huge entrepreneur with tons of staff and employees and all of that. Like, I like keeping it small, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to just relationships in general. Relationships are the ticket. It's the golden ticket to longevity in the game that you're playing. So if you want to have new ideas that come up, if you want to have new opportunities that land in your lap, if you need help through a sticking point and you're looking for a breakthrough or a light bulb moment, doing that on your own is really tough and tiring. And from camaraderie to accountability to idea sharing, collaboration, there's a lot of different ways where having other people that you are friends with and acquainted with are invaluable to your overall longevity and prosperity in what you're doing. And from a mental health perspective too, like you can work alone for a certain amount of time and not feel lonely, but at some point it will begin to feel lonely. And when it's feeling lonely is usually when stuff is going wrong, when fires are popping up out of nowhere and you don't know how to put out the fire, and you feel overwhelmed and stressed. And obviously the mental and emotional impact, negative impact that can have is not fun. And on top of it, you don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody to lean into. And that's just one example of why relationships are so important. And as it is with most of these points, this goes outside of the whole YouTube game, the creator game, your career, or the side hustle that you're a part of. This is just life truths. The fullest, most richest experience of life, as stated by the wisest that have ever been documented, talk about how important it is to be a part of something that's bigger than you, be a part of a community, be a part of something that's not just you by yourself, sitting on your gold throne, ruling over your kingdom of one. That's not the best way to experience this beautiful thing called life. So don't be a lone wolf. Truth number 15, you will not have your best idea the first time you think about it. I actually got this from James Clear. He's got a newsletter that goes out every single Thursday. Highly recommend. It's called 321 Thursdays, I think. In one of his newsletters, I save the ones that are the most interesting to me. There was a quote in there or an idea he had posted about your best ideas don't come to you the first time that you think it. So if you have an idea that kind of like means something to you, like you need to document it. And it doesn't mean just write it down on a Post-it and slide it to the other side of your desk or stick it in a drawer somewhere. It means allow time for you to mentally just stew on that idea or that thought. Practicing the art in the game of thinking is really, really important. What's interesting is I know for me, when I have an idea, and I think this is probably just true for people in general, when you have an idea, you either can pretty quickly say, oh, this is a good idea. This is potentially got some legs on it, or it's a bad idea. It was just an idea, whatever. And you can just kind of categorize it that way and move on. But if it feels like this is not the best version of this idea, maybe there's something here. We just have to kind of think on it. Or if you have an idea and you're like, oh, it's great, keep proving to yourself that it is great. Not like blindly. Don't just like put on the blinders and then just convince yourself that it's a great idea, because we're not trying to promote delusion here. But like, take that idea and look at it from different angles with a magnifying glass. Go back to not being a lone wolf. Go to your peers, other people that you know, love, and trust, and say like, hey, this is kind of what I was thinking about, or I had this thought. What do you think? Like, does that make sense? Is that a good idea? Is there something here? Gain that perspective. And as you look at it from all these angles and you continue to chew on the thought itself, you start to really craft something really, really cool. Your best idea is not going to come the first time that you think of it. It often comes from chiseling away at the raw ingredients of that idea when you had it. It's kind of like coal into a diamond, or whatever visualization you want to paint there. Like, you have to whittle away at it. You have to chisel off the rough edges. You have to break down to the core of what's good here, and then smooth it out and shape it. And then before you realize it, you went from coal to a beautiful jewel, that's worth a lot and very pretty to look at. Keep on your ideas a little bit longer. Don't just shove them away. Truth number 16, this is a very quick, short, sweet, and snappy one. Write down your ideas or your thoughts as fast as possible, because if not, you will lose it. Trust me, I have so many times, whether I'm laying in bed or just driving down the road or whatever, I have a thought that pops into my mind. You need to write it down. You need to document it. Get used to taking your phone and doing a voice memo recording, saying like, hey Siri, remind me of this in 2 hours. And see, she's already, there we go. Make sure that you have some sort of note-taking system. Everybody's different, so I can't tell you which one's better than what, and there's a million, that's a whole subculture right there of just productivity, note-taking, storage, organization, all of the stuff. But don't think that you're gonna be able to remember it, because if you're anything like me, and I think we have a lot in common, you're busy. You've got a lot going on. There are a lot of thoughts coming in and out of your mind every single day. I can't remember the statistic of how many thoughts any one person has on average through a day, but it's a lot. I mean, I think it's like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but it's a ton. So if you have an idea or a thought that's worth remembering, do yourself the favor and write it down. Truth 17, you already know what to do. You just have to dig it up. What I mean is, when you're stuck on something, oftentimes we do know the solution already, but often those answers are typically clouded by the fog that comes from emotions that are wrapped in. I was dealing with a fire I needed to put out work-wise. Last week, I woke up to a message from somebody on my team, basically like they weren't going to be around anymore. And I was like, whoa, like I'm counting on you for this and this and this, and I don't have another person and all of that. And I was like, crap, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do I keep the client happy? And like, I don't have time to go hire and train and bring in a new person in time to make this all work. Like, this is going to be really crappy. And it took me a couple hours of just like feeling like crap and not knowing what to do, until I could kind of shake the emotion for a second and just look at the thing, just set it on the table and just say, okay, here's the problem. Here's the context around it. This is the circumstance I'm in. I've got option A, B, C, and maybe possibly option D, and so you start weighing those out and then you make the decision. So yeah, I didn't know what the right answer was right from the get. When I got that message from the person on my team, I knew that if I could just get through the fog of emotion, the clouded judgment of just feeling stressed and frustrated and sad and angry and feeling sorry for myself and mad at them or whatever it is, I knew that I had all of the information I needed to be able to make the right decision. It was just a matter of moving the emotion out of the way so that I could just say, yep, that's the right decision. So oftentimes we already know what to do. And I think this is cool. I heard this from Alex Hormozy. You're probably familiar. If not, check him out if you like the business content things. But he talks about having conversations with his 80-year-old self. And a lot of times when he doesn't know what to do, he just has an out loud or some sort of like meditative prayer style conversation with the wiser version of Alex, the 80-something-year-old version of him that's already gotten through this challenge and chapter in his life and is looking back giving advice. And so if you kind of frame a conversation with your older self, your wiser self, a lot of times you can start to, on your own, dig up the right answer to this problem that you're facing. What's really powerful about that is, number one, you're learning how to problem solve on your own, and you're learning to build up that gut of judgment of what the right call is, and trusting yourself and allowing instincts to kind of help you along. And then you start to trust yourself more and more, that even if I don't know the answer at this moment, I have what I need to find the answer. And sometimes it's not all within you. Sometimes you need to go out and you need to consult other people that can give you perspective. I'm not saying you do this all on your own, only all the time, every time. Unless somebody is literally sitting at a desk next to you 24/7 that knows every aspect of your life and is with you all the time, you have way more context and understanding on your circumstance than anybody ever could. And so you think about all the associated nuances and variables that come along with running a business or just pursuing something. There's just a lot of nuance and variables to things and context that people won't understand. So like if I, like that situation with the person on my team that messaged me the other day, like if I would have reached out to my old business coach who has a lot of context on my circumstance in general, we don't work together anymore, but we're good personal friends. We were even before the coaching stuff. I don't know that I would just fully subscribe to whatever his suggestion would be. If he were to give me straight suggestion, he'd probably give me prompt questions to like spur on me asking myself the right things to come to the answer. But nobody has the context that you do for your circumstance. Learn to trust in yourself, and that takes time. And trust, in general, trust doesn't happen overnight. It has to be built. And so you have to build that with yourself. And that's through experiences, which I know I'm a broken record about that, but it's going out there, doing things, being uncomfortable, figuring it out, not trying to win every single battle, but looking at the bigger war or the bigger trophy at the end of it. It's not about getting every single answer correct on the test. It's about averaging at a high enough level that's either a passing or an exceedingly passing grade in the game of whatever it is that you're doing with your creator business. Truth number 18, don't discredit the wisdom from people that are further along than you, even if what they say doesn't make sense to you at the time. There's a lot of times in my life where I have been given very sage advice, very wise words, but where I was in life, it didn't make all the sense to me at the time. In fact, it almost seemed like counterproductive or just not correct or accurate. My encouragement or the truth here is, don't discredit what those people are saying. Just because it doesn't make sense doesn't mean that it's not true. That's kind of the more simplified way of saying this. So words of advice or encouragement or just life truths that are being told to you from somebody wiser than you, hold on to it. It doesn't mean it's not true. It just might not make sense right now, and that's okay. Truth number 19, embrace the suck. Because this whole entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, creatorpreneurship, the whole thing, it's a slog. It's just this knockdown, drag out fight with ups and downs and everything in between. If you've done this for any amount of time, you know what I'm talking about. This is what we're all going through. Truthfully, the suck is arguably a larger part of the reward itself, because nothing of meaning or true value comes out of nowhere. It is earned, it is built, it is forged. So remember that. The challenges, don't run from the challenges. Don't see this as the bad part of things. Although I know, like, it's not fun sometimes, like in the moment especially, but that's what makes it rewarding. So embrace it. Here's a quote for you. What value lies in a job well done if the job itself required no skill, no sweat, or sacrifice? And finally, for the last truth, I think this is a really important one that I've been told myself that I'll share with you now. You can become anything, but you can't be everything. Thinking about my journey, my life in real estate, in fitness, in music, in other endeavors I haven't even shared on this channel or in this video, they could have all led to success if I would have just focused on it and chased after it. But somewhere in those moments when I was in those different pockets of my life, I chose to pick up and try something different, to sacrifice all of that to try something else. And it doesn't mean that you can't multitask. I'm a multifaceted person. I ride dirt bikes, I play guitar, I wrestle with my kids, I do most of the cooking for a family household. I enjoy doing that. There's just a lot of elements to me, and that's fine. But when it comes to pursuing like excellence at something, you have to sacrifice a lot to become great at that one thing. So you can become anything, but you can't be everything. And if you think about the great entrepreneurs that are running 15 businesses, they didn't just start running 15 businesses and grow them all. They started with one, built it up, used the resource, the knowledge, everything from that, moved it to the next, moved it to the next. And now you can start to have more than one thing going on for you. But it takes time and it takes sacrifice and dedication in the beginning. Those are the important business truths for you. I hope you found this video valuable. If so, hit the like button, leave a comment, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more coming for you, and I'm excited to share it with you. Till next time, peace.